Thanks for stopping by Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. I took a few days off, released a couple of videos um, while I was working, and one of the videos that I released was a uh, interaction, if you will, that I had with a young lady in Albert Lea, Minnesota, on the night of January 29th of 2021. I was helping out with door and security at the interchange for the event that they were having. And somewhat later in the evening, after we had stopped serving food and beverages, and people were hanging out in protest of the governor's, should we say, non equal mandates, uh, especially regarding restaurants and bistros and eateries and the like. I noticed that a young lady was shooting video of people that were coming in and out. And so I went out and I confronted her. Not going to argue. I was mocking and derisive towards her. And I'm going to continue to be mocking and derisive towards her because, well, she's a Marxist. And what I do want to say, though, is as I introduce you to Angie Hanson from Albert Lea, Minnesota, I'm not interested in anyone finding out where she works. I'm not interested in anyone trying to determine where she lives. The fact that she lives in Albert Lea is good enough for me. I actually want to give Angie props for having the intestinal fortitude to admit why she was there. Now, it's the surface admittance that's covering up what's really going on. Angie was clearly shooting video of people as they were coming and going from the interchange. She was making statements about a good portion of the people who were going in with mask or without mask. She was showing her dissatisfaction that people were going in without mask or coming out without mask, which she's perfectly entitled to do. Angie's also perfectly entitled to shoot video of people in public. I don't have a problem with her doing that. I shoot video of people all the time when I'm in public. In fact, these days, I don't go into a store without a video camera going. Now, most of you know that's because I don't wear a mask anywhere. And I have been maligned and attacked, called names, been told that I wasn't going to get service, even though that they don't know why I don't wear a mask. They just, you can't be in here without a mask on. That's our rules. And there'll be another video coming out about public accommodations and what they can and cannot do in that regard. But I want to give Angie props. And this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because guess what we're going to do? We're going to go watch Angie's video. We're not going to watch all of it, but we're going to watch some of it. And we're going to interact with a few things. But the first thing that we're going to interact with is towards the end of her being at the interchange, in the front of the interchange, once again shooting video of people coming in and out, she gets very verklempt, if you will, that I dared to call her a fascist. Now, she is a Marxist, but how can I call her a fascist? Well, there's two things at play here. One, I have decided, and I said this in the introduction to the video that I did about Angie with our little interaction, that I'm going to use the Marxist tactics against them. And that's exactly what she was doing. So she was there because she heard it was going to be open, and she was hoping it was going to get shut down. And at one point she says, well, I don't really have an opinion about whether or not what they were doing is right or wrong. But she went there to see whether or not law enforcement was going to shut the interchange down. That's what she was there for. She wanted to make sure that they were disciplined. And like it or not, Angie was exposing people who were have a reasonable expectation to not be videotaped every time they have video shot of them when they go into a business. She was exposing them. Now, I don't care about exposure to whatever, but that's what she was doing. Now, she made some kind of somewhat veiled attempts to hide her camera when people were coming in. Oh, I want to protect their privacy. And you'll see that. But what she was doing was really, for lack of better terminology, the normal tactic of Antifa and Black Lives Matter and Black Bloc and all the other radical Marxist groups out there. They love to shoot video of people in public taking part in things that they don't agree with to expose them. And even one of the commenters on Angie's videos said, good, that way when there's an outbreak, we can show who was there and hold them accountable. It was something to that effect. I can't remember. So why is the fascist thing important besides using their tactics against them? So now, keep in mind, anybody that they disagree with is automatically labeled a Nazi. Anybody that they disagree with is automatically labeled alt-right or a white supremacist or a racist or a fascist. And I understand why they do that. It's a very easy tactic to use to discredit somebody. You throw this ad hominem attack out there, you label them something, or you use it as a straw man or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a combination of both an ad hom and a straw man logical fallacy. But what it does is it puts that person on the spot. So now that they have to shift their argumentation away from what's really going on to now defend themselves against their accusation. I don't argue against the accusation anymore. You want to call me a racist? I don't care, because I know I'm not. You want to call me a fascist? I don't care. I know I'm not. I'm not a fascist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not an alt-righter. I'm not a white supremacist. I'm none of those things. So I don't care. Call me those things all day long. Call up all my family. Call up all my friends. Tell them that I'm a white supremacist. I don't care. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not. But I'm going to use your tactics against you. Now, when I call Angie a fascist, a couple of people comment, and you'll see this as we go through her videos, and they go, he doesn't know what a fascist is. Well, yeah, I do. I know what a fascist is. But they don't, because they completely tie fascism into one thing and one thing only, and that's Nazi Germany or our Mussolini's Italy. But that's not fascism completely. Were those fascist nations? Absolutely. Those were fascist governments who were doing fascist things. But fascism is not just, should we say, it's not just a white nationalist or any other kind of nationalist. Now, you would never see, let's say, the people of South Africa who are now committing a genocide against whites in South Africa. You would never see anybody call the African National Conference or Congress of South Africa fascist, because they're black, and you can't do that. But the African National Conference or Congress, which is a political party in Africa, South Africa, is particularly black nationalist. They are a fascist organization. They are going through and they are committing genocide on a daily basis of whites at South Africa. Demonstrably true. Demonstrably true. Now, the fascism that people like Angie and others hold to, or not hold to, but like to label other people with, is National Socialism, which is Nazism. And that's very key. National Socialism is what the Nazi Party was. They were socialists. They were a form of communism. They were a form of Marxism. National Socialism was not democratic, was not a republic. It was not liberty-minded. It was not republicanism. If you want to call it any of those things. It wasn't capitalistic. It was a form of governmental control and dictatorship. So what are the definitions of fascism? Shall we take a look here? Fascism, often capitalized, a political philosophy, movement, or regime such as that of the fascistes that exalts nation and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. Now, if that's not enough for you, now, granted, many of the Marxists today don't hold to a nationalism, if you will, but they definitely believe in forcible suppression of opposition, as they run around all over social media trying to get social media platforms to deplatform anybody who would be considered conservative or on the right. Look at what Twitter did to Donald Trump by banning him. Same thing with Facebook and YouTube. And anybody who has any kind of platform that they disagree with, or position that they disagree with, they do everything they can to get them removed from those platforms. And now we have people in Congress like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or as I like to refer to her now as Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett, because she likes to lie about things that have been done to her when they never happened. Boy, she's part of the squad, who, oh, by the way, Angie loves. AOC wants to have an enemies list that anybody who supported Trump should be held accountable. And there are other people who would like to see all Republicans or conservatives or Trump supporters their children should be taken away from them. Does that sound like liberty-minded Marxism? No, it's not. It's Marxist fascism. So here's another definition of, or a secondary, if you will, definition of fascism: a tendency toward or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. Fascism does not have to be white nationalism. Fascism doesn't have to be a particular ethnic nationalism, period. It doesn't have to be American firstism. It can be actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. Marxism, people. Marxism. And so let's say you don't like the term fascist, all right? Let's say you don't like it. And this is all germane to everything we're gonna see. And I'm not gonna go through the entire 30+ minutes of Angie's videos. What we're gonna see is she doesn't like what's happening. People don't like the fact that I call her a fascist or a Nazi. And yeah, I use that for shock factor. I really don't think that she's a Nazi per se. But she's there, she's outing people. I don't care what she says, oh, I'm gonna try and protect their privacy. No, you weren't. You were there to see what was going on. When people said, go check it out and make sure you live stream it, you weren't caring about anybody's privacy, Angie. You wanted people to be seen going in and out of there. You wanted that. You wanted to look the hero. So that is fascism. Strong, autocratic, and dictatorial control, which is exactly what the Marxist left, the progressives, are pushing for. And you're not progressives, okay? Can you stop using that term? You're not a progressive. You're a leftist Marxist. You're a Marxist. I don't care what you say. The squad, they're Marxist. Bernie Sanders is a Marxist. Your bumper stickers are all over your car. Watch my video, you can see that. So let's see what Angie does. She's not very good with her camera, but that's okay.
Well, I'm here, folks. I am outside the Interchange. I'm parked across the street. I actually could have got a spot right in front, but that maybe didn't seem so safe.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with this. She could have parked across the street, but that didn't seem safe. Okay, why, Angie? I know I came out and confronted you. I wasn't gonna hurt you. no desire to hurt you. I support your freedom to do what you're doing. I support your First Amendment rights. I support your freedom of speech, your liberty of speech, if you will. I support your liberty to shoot video. You want to shoot video? That's fine. I don't care. Doesn't bother me at all. Put me out there. Didn't do anything that I'm ashamed of. But you didn't want to be out there because you were afraid. Here's this implication. It's this, whether you want to admit it or not, I didn't want to be too close because these people might be dangerous. Like, you're in your car, you have a mask. There's no way that you're going to catch COVID from people walking by. You know that what you're doing is going to attract attention. And you even say that as you sit here in front of the real estate office and you're hoping that the realtor inside doesn't notice you. I don't think he's noticed me yet. And maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you're friends with the realtor. I don't know. I highly doubt it, since the realtor has a we support our law enforcement officers sign in his window. You probably don't support him, because we know that other than wanting the law enforcement officers of Albert Lea to come and shut down the interchange, which is really what you and all your friends are pushing for, is that law enforcement come in and shut them down. You don't like law enforcement. You have people like you, and I would imagine that somewhere in your very stellar career as a Marxist leftist Marxist, you're not a progressive, you're a Marxist, totalitarian, authoritarian Marxist. You want to do away with law enforcement until you need them to start shutting down things. So I doubt that you'd want to go in there and hang out at the real estate office, because you wouldn't want to be seen supporting law enforcement until you need them, right? So you didn't want to be over there because you knew what you were doing was a little shady.
Anyway, just to see if anything goes down at 10. I've seen like 2 police cars, and the last like 5-ish minutes, 10 minutes, and 2 look like unmarked cars driving by, look like police officers were inside. Looks like they're doing an interview. One of the television stations doing an interview over there, and it looks like on the corner they're setting up to do something over there. I happen to be right in front of Robert Hoffman Realty. Nice. I'm sure I can go in there and hang out with him if need be.
That was sarcasm.
So not the perfect view, but if something, well, I guess we'll see. It's almost it.
So not the perfect view, but in case something happens. Well, what does she mean? Like a fight breaks out, a fire? I don't know. No, she wants there to be a law enforcement interaction. And there again, I guarantee you, this woman has no desire to support law enforcement. I guarantee you she'd be on the whole defund the police bandwagon, and would imply that all law enforcement officers, especially white law enforcement officers, are all guilty of systematic racism and implicit bias and explicit bias. I guarantee you that she's all on board that bandwagon. I guarantee you she's fully in support of critical race theory. I guarantee it. I guarantee you she's a proponent of critical race theory, which is in and of itself incredibly dangerous. But I guarantee you she's for all those things. But boy, she sure wants law enforcement to come shut this down. And that's why she's here. That's why she showed up and started shooting video when she did. She wants the cops to come and close down the interchange.
It's just about 10 o'clock. So we'll see if it gets closed down or not.
Mm-hmm. See?
Christopher, I spy with my little eye something blue, huh? I'm not sure if this is normal Albert Lea traffic up here at this time because I'm usually about in bed. But there's a lot of people, as you see, I'm sure you're seeing, drive by rubbernecking, and I don't know if they're thinking about going in or they're just kind of curious like me.
That's so disingenuous. You're not curious. Angie, you want law enforcement to shut it down. Just admit it, okay? I would actually have more respect for you if you would just say, I want cops to come shut this down. Because you've got this whole, well, I really don't have an opinion. But when you talk to it, well, we'll get to that.
So now I am right in front. I'm at the end here, so I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Notice that. Well, I'm at the end, so I'm more comfortable. There again, outside of people walking by and seeing you, shooting video of them, which is what you're there for, what do you have to be uncomfortable about? Like, and there again, you're free to do it, but you're also free to be confronted by it. And this implication that somehow, if somebody sees you, you're in danger is laughable. The only people who have harmed anyone in the state of Minnesota this year in these situations have all been leftist, Marxist, militant, militia types from Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Black Bloc, the New Black Liberation Army, and the New Black Panthers. That's it. No one in the state of Minnesota that has been considered a conservative or on the right or anything like that has done in any of these situations where there's a disagreement over politics. Can you show me where any Marxist has been hurt? You're building up this fear factor because you don't want to be hurt by those evil Marxists. It's asinine because it's not what's happening. So I'm going to kind of cut back and forth here to comments. There's this Lacey Karsjan said, would be interesting to know how many of these folks work in healthcare. Hopefully none. Angie says, yeah, I hope the same thing. And somebody must have been watching and said, I'm sorry you had to go through that. These people are awful. I'm awful. Guess what? Not the first time I heard that. We need more Angie Hansons in the world. You're an amazing lady. I'm proud of you. We don't need any more Angie Hansons in the world. We literally have enough government-dependent Marxist leftists right now. We literally don't need any more. We need more people responding to Angie. So here's this one. Thank you for videoing this. You now have proof of them being open. Guess what? Nobody really cared if anybody knew that the interchange was open. The reason that the windows were covered was to keep looky-loos from coming through and causing a scene, which is exactly what Angie was trying to do. She can say what she wants. Later on, as I have my interaction with Angie, she says that I'm trying to dox her. I don't want her doxed. Antifa's coming after me. They're trying to dox me. At this point, I don't really care. But I'm not interested in doxing Angie. I wasn't interested in capturing her license plates particularly. Did I catch them? Yep, absolutely. Don't care. Doesn't bother me. Who cares? I don't want people to go after Angie. I don't want anybody to do anything to Angie. In fact, somebody tries to hurt Angie, I'll be the first person to defend her. Period. But Angie's literally one of those people who's trying to spy on her neighbors. That's what she's doing. She wants law enforcement to shut them down. She wants law enforcement to take out the interchange. And she wants people to be seen going in and out. There again, there's a couple of spots where she kind of angles her camera away. But that's why she's there. She went down there. She was not down there out of curiosity. She's down there to see what would happen because she wants it shut down. And we know this because of some of the things that she says in the interview that she gets with the news station. And here's the gal, Rachel Knudsen, obviously watching me later on. She goes, that's Rich. He doesn't understand fascism. No, Rachel, I do understand fascism. I understand it better than you do. I am a student of worldviews. I am a student of world history. This is exactly the kind of behavior, Rachel Knudsen, Angie Hanson, that is used by the left, by Marxists, autocratic, dictatorial, tyrannical rule. You use the plebes on the other plebes. You use people against the people. You set them up to take out your opponent for disagreeing. Angie's spying. And this person right here recognizes it. Thank you for videoing this. You now have proof of them being open. That's what they're looking for. Christians can't be on the left. You can't be on the left as a Christian. You certainly can't be a white supremacist as a Christian either, but you can't be a leftist Marxist as a Christian. And the fact that Heidi is over here advocating for what Angie is doing, this spying to prove that they were open, demonstrates that Angie and Heidi would be all for using this evidence in some way, shape, or form to cause people problems. Heidi is all on board with whatever the governor says. Whatever you got to do, governor, keep us safe. Keep us safe because it's the governor's job. Look at this. Got Jen Mudra. The interchange will be a distant memory. LOL, her business is on its way to failure. And Diane Koziolik. Yes, I do believe so. Poor decisions, poor choices. Deb Sather. You stay safe. We need your courageous progressive soul in Albert Lea. What? Courageous? Like, there again, I give her props for having the guts to go out and do what she's doing. That shows a certain level of moxie on her part to go out alone and do it. But this isn't courageous. Spying on people in this way, shape, or form is not courageous. It's spying. She's spying. And she'll admit to being a Marxist. Now, she doesn't use those words, but she'll admit to it here in a little bit. She wants them shut down. And everybody wants her to use this video. So now we're going to listen to Angie's interaction with the news media, with mainstream media. Now, I want you to keep in mind that at different points, Angie has said, well, I'm just here to look. I don't really know if I support or don't support. I have no opinion one way or another, whether or not they should be doing what they're doing. Okay? But listen to her as she exposes herself.
Hi.
Quick question for you. My name is Devin Martin. I'm a news reporter with ABC 6 in Rochester.
Yeah.
Was just curious to see, because I saw you filming from your car.
Yeah, just let me take my mask. Yeah.
Support this or
No, I don't support it.
Remember, she said, well, I don't have an opinion one way or another. She's said that in different ways. I'm not, interested in one thing or the other. She's definitely interested. She has an agenda, and she's now going to admit this.
I am against it. I think that it's completely unsafe, and this is just more or less a stunt.
It's a stunt. She hasn't bothered to talk to the owners of the interchange. She hasn't bothered to find out what's going on or why they're doing what they're doing. But she knows it's a stunt.
Right? I mean, she's giving away free food and beverage. Those doesn't make money. So
why are you opposed to her giving away free food and beverages? It's literally, Lisa's announced. She did a video. She said this is a protest against the governor. And she explained why. She had a $15,000 check from the state that she could have used, but she chose to give it back to the taxpayers by giving them free food and beverages. That is marvelous. And Angie's calling it a stunt. It's not a stunt. It's not a stunt.
Well, someone thought that the police were going to cut it time to close things down because they're supposed to be closed at 10. So I said, well, I'll go up and, just see. And they're like, oh, would you, video it so we can watch? And of course, it just happened.
Right.
Have you heard anything about
Nope.
About anything like
Nope. I mean, I can't even get in.
Oh, they won't let you in.
No.
Oh, that's interesting. So they won't let the news people inside, but you did an interview outside. Was that you doing the interview outside?
I did a live show, but I talked to Lisa earlier today.
Okay.
No, media didn't need to be in there, and they're not entitled to be in there. And that's the thing. Sure, freedom of press. But remember, people like Angie would argue that President Trump should be kept off of platforms like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. People like Angie would argue that eventually my channel should be shut down. People like Angie would argue that anybody who she disagrees with, who has radical thoughts or dangerous thoughts or hate speech, and they get to define whatever hate speech is or what radical extremism is, they get to define that. Those people should be shut down. But you notice how she got a little upset or a little confused as to why we wouldn't let the media in. Well, guess what? We don't have to. It's not our responsibility to protect the media's right to come into a business when we're having a private gathering. Granted, it was by invite, but it was a private gathering. That's why there was somebody at the door. Yours truly.
Yep, but I was curious to see, for my web story tonight, and want to get back to the station, I would like to put a perspective like yours in my story for tonight. So is it okay if I could just get out my phone and just click the record button and, could just kind of hear what you got to say?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds okay.
Okay.
Let me fix my mask here.
Ooh, it is so cold. I don't know why every time I come to Albert Lea, it's like
It is, yeah. It's not really any colder here than anywhere else in southern Minnesota. So I'm going to do a quick interview, guys.
All right. If you want to spell your first and last name for me, please.
Angie, A-N-G-I-E, Hanson, H-A-N-S-O-N.
Okay. And you're not related to Lisa, are you?
No, I am not related to
Lisa. You guys have the same last name.
No,
so
no relation.
And are you from Albert Lea?
Yes, I was born and raised in Albert Lea.
Okay. So what do you think of all this?
I think that this whole thing tonight is a publicity stunt. Basically, nail it to the walls, pretty much trying to stick it to Governor Walz. And normally, if someone wants to make a stand, well, that's okay. I support that, and I support everyone's freedom of speech and all of that. But I doubt that they're following precautions. Obviously, they're open past 10 p.m.
Okay, what Angie just said here, I doubt that they're following precautions. She was preceded by her, I support everybody's freedom of speech. Listen, Angie, a protest is not a valuable protest if you follow every single guideline that you're protesting against. That's cognitive dissonance. I support your freedom of speech as long as you're following all these guidelines. No, that's not freedom of speech. And this is what's wrong with Marxists. They get to determine what freedom of speech is, and they say freedom of speech is you can say whatever you want to say as long as you follow all these guidelines. You could protest as long as you follow all these guidelines. And for most of the Marxists in the state of Minnesota, following all the guidelines at a protest means that you burn down entire neighborhoods in Minneapolis over what? But Lisa's dangerous. The interchange is dangerous. Minneapolis being burned down and now being the law enforcement community being gutted, that's not dangerous as crime skyrockets in Minneapolis. Police is dangerous and should be shut down. But she has a freedom of speech as long as she follows guidelines.
Yeah, I'm concerned that they're not wearing masks or they're exceeding capacity limits, and so that they may be, if someone in there has COVID, they could, everyone's at risk in there. And then the thing is people are commenting on this on Facebook, and people say, well, then just don't go. Well, yeah, of course I'm not going to go. I don't think it's safe.
And people that comment on Facebook, if you don't like it, don't go. They're right. Don't go. And yet, you're right. It probably was overcapacity in there. I don't know what the rated capacity of the interchange was. Don't care. Don't care. The right, the freedom, the liberty to gather in protest, the freedom of association doesn't have a restriction because you might be overcapacity. And that's something that Angie doesn't understand. She doesn't understand that. She lives her life needing to be protected from all risk. And she even said that, well, they're at risk. Life is risk, Angie. Life is dangerous. You getting in your car is dangerous. You going to work is dangerous. Eating food is dangerous because you don't know. You don't even have a reasonable expectation that the food you eat isn't going to somehow, in some way, some shape, some form, poison you. You're sitting there in a car, I think it's probably an electric car of some sort of hybrid, that's got lithium batteries. Lithium batteries are dangerous. You're sitting on top of an explosive engine, an internal combustion engine. It's dangerous. Life is dangerous. That's the way it is. Life has always been dangerous. And that doesn't mean we should go around, Angie, doing things that are just like crazy, like playing with razor blades or eating razor blades and playing with fire. But telling people they can't gather in a group for a virus that has a better than 98% survival rate is asinine. And you don't want the interchange to be open because you think it's dangerous. Let the people who go, go. And that's what I'm going to say to her when you watch my interaction with her.
But the thing is so if someone in there gets sick with COVID, they may have a child. The child goes to my son's school and he comes home and gives me COVID. Or someone else's kid gives their grandma COVID. Or someone in there is a coworker or something, and I go to work and I get it from them when I go to work. So the thing is people keep saying, just if you don't want to go, then don't go. If you're high risk, then just be careful. But it's not as easy as that because people have family.
It is that easy, Angie. It is. For thousands of years, we have quarantined the sick. We have quarantined the vulnerable. You do not quarantine asymptomatic, healthy people. And if a person who is vulnerable wants to be out in public, they should be free to do that. But you shouldn't be imposing on everyone else a restriction to protect them. That's what this argument is about, Angie. And you don't get it because you're a Marxist. You believe that the only way that you can be protected is if the government protects you from everything. And that's not how this works. Young lady, this isn't how it works. This is how you strip everything away from everyone. Period. By protecting them or telling them that you will protect them from everything that could possibly harm them. And I'm not angry at you. To be honest with you, Angie, part of me hurts for you. Because there's never going to be a line that you won't cross to be protected, to be safe. You will be willing to lose everything as long as everything is taken care of for you, as long as you can be made to feel comfortable, as long as you can, and by comfortable I don't mean living in a lap of luxury, comfortable from any harm, protected from any harm, protected from any risk. Angie, life is risk, and you are never going to experience the joy of truly living until you learn to live in the face of risk. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? Because I don't think you do. You've admitted to being a proud progressive, a proud leftist, a proud Marxist. And you're over here spying on your neighbors, saying they don't have a right to do what they're doing. They have to toe the line that you and some government entity establishes because you want to be safe. That's not how this works.
And students are going to school, and you can give it to someone that could have a really hard time with it or even die, and they're trying to do the best they can, follow all precautions.
For sure. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And just continue to stay safe, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope I didn't sound too stupid for the news right there.
You don't sound stupid, Angie. You sound lost. You sound lost. You're a lost soul. And I'm not talking in the spiritual sense. You're lost because you're just absolutely confused by the display of liberty. It scares you. You're scared. You can't believe anybody doesn't believe what you believe and doesn't toe those lines, doesn't obey the way you obey. And why don't you believe it? Because you think that it's the responsibility of some other person to protect you from harm, to protect you from risk. And even what you say right here.
I don't know if you guys heard him at all at the beginning. I didn't really want to shine this on him because I thought that possibly he may be and not comfortable with that, or it might be kind of weird. So
notice she didn't even want to put her camera on the guy who spends all of his time on camera for a job because he thought it might be weird. In other words, she was worried about it. Okay. Well, now I kind of understand, you know, that's somewhat respectful, but that's just the mindset. It's just this crazy mindset, and I'm crazy not in a mental health way. It's just this crazy mindset of, I don't know. But here she is also shooting footage of people coming in and out of the business. And then here in a little while, she'll kind of make a pretense of hiding the camera a little bit.
anyway, but he said when he first came to my car that I don't know if you heard them, but they wouldn't let him in. He did an interview with Lisa earlier in the day, and then he just did some shots out here. I thought he was interviewing out here when I was on the other side of the truck over here, but got my seatbelt back on just in case.
Now, notice how she's not interested in dropping the camera when this person's not facing her and looking away. The biggest reason why she drops the camera most of the time, and you can say, well, how can you read into her motives? The same way she's reading into the motives of every other person. The only time she moves that camera is when somebody might spot it. But when they're not looking directly at Angie, she doesn't have a problem showing their faces. She's worried about being caught.
Some people are leaving here. It looked like a minute ago people were leaving with to go. So
you know, now watch this.
Giving some to go stuff.
She does not care about catching his face. She doesn't care. Now watch, when he notices, what does she do?
I don't know.
He looks right at her. She realizes, crap, busted. Drops it, but not fully. What's the accusation here?
There's a gentleman right here. Yeah. Okay, I thought he was gonna bother me, so I thought he was gonna bother me, so it's gonna.
Oh, I thought he was gonna bother me. Of course you thought he was gonna bother you because you're trying to hide a camera. You didn't care until he saw.
Video him. Well, I'll probably stay here just a few more minutes.
I want to address this comment right here from, let's see here, from this Teresa Sandin. So my husband and I were discussing this. It is illegal for a public establishment to lock their doors. Fire marshal wouldn't have liked that. Okay, it is illegal for a public establishment to lock their doors on the inside to prevent people from exiting. The doors on the inside of the interchange were not locked from the inside, Teresa. So before you comment, make sure you have all the information, okay? The doors on the inside were open, the push bar open doors. In other words, if there'd been an emergency, people could have gone out, as shall we do our flight attendant, you may exit by the front or to the rear. To the front or to the rear. To the front or to the rear. They could have gone out the front door. They could have gone out the back door. but they weren't locked. They were locked for entrance, not for egress. Okay? Entrance, not for egress. I also want to address this comment right here from Tab Molly Meyer. I'm assuming that's a joint account, but I don't know. It might just be Tab Molly. I don't know. I've never met anybody named Tab Molly. But so Tab Molly Meyer, cognitive dissonance much? So they take government money to break the law from other businesses that are law-abiding and care about the community's health. First of all, not government money. No such thing as a government money. All money that government has is money that's owned by the people. How does the government get it? The government gets money by taking it from people. How does the government take money? Government takes money through taxes and fees and assessments. How does the government take money through taxes, fees, and assessments, Tab Molly Meyer? Well, Tab Molly Meyer, the government takes money through taxes, fees, and assessments by the threat of force, period. You pay your taxes through threat of force, you pay fees through threat of force, you pay assessments through threat of force. And you're gonna be like, well, nobody holds a gun to my head and takes my taxes out of my check. You're right. There isn't some government entity standing over you with a 45 caliber handgun to your head saying pay your taxes. However, here's what happens. If you don't pay your taxes, fees, or assessments, Tab Molly Meyer, the government says, we're going to come take that money from you one way or another. And if you don't pay it, you get to go to prison. And if you don't want to go to prison, we'll make you go to prison. Well, how do we make you go to prison? Well, first we're going to take you in and we're going to haul you in front of a judge and maybe a jury. And if you don't want to go before the judge or the jury, we're going to come with a warrant. We're going to forcibly arrest you. If you want to resist arrest, then we're going to have guys with guns come into your home with the warrant, present the warrant to you, put you in handcuffs, and haul you away in the back of a law enforcement vehicle, put you into a jail, put you in front of a judge where there will be men with guns watching you the entire time. And then when you're done, you're going to be taken back down into the jail, and men with weapons are going to make sure that you understand the parameters of what's happened. And then if you end up going to trial and you're found guilty of tax evasion, men with guns are going to put you back into shackles and handcuffs. They're going to put you into a vehicle and forcibly move you to a prison. That's force. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail, prison by force. That's how taxes get paid. No one signs a check and goes, oh, hey, you know what? I've decided this year I've made $250 million. I'm going to give you $125 million just out of the goodness of my heart. No, taxes are by force. Assessments and fees are by force. So it's no such thing as government money. That's money that the people made, that they paid, whether it be businesses or others, that was then turned around and written into a check and given to Lisa. A check she didn't want, but she darn sure wasn't going to give it back to the government. She gave it back to the people. Ooh, why? Why? Because it belonged to them, not the government, Tab Molly Meyer. Your Marxism is showing. Oh, here we go. Deb Sather. No understanding of Nazi history. I do understand Nazis. National Socialism. That's what it was. National Socialism. What's Bernie? Bernie's a socialist. What's socialist? They're a Marxist. Well, guess what? Authoritarian control. What was that? What was that other one? Let's see here. A tendency toward actual exercise of strong autocratic and dictatorial control. Fascism. National fascism. What's that sound like? The left today. Oh, here's one. Ask Todd. Oh, you know what? To heck with it, McCullough. Ask Todd if immuno-compromised lives matter. They do, Michaela Hanson. They do matter. Sorry that you're immunocompromised. I really am. But your life isn't more important than preborn children. Are you okay with preborn children being murdered to save your life? Because that's what a lot of the stem cell stuff has done today. Are you okay with Planned Parenthood, Michaela Hanson, selling body parts like Project Veritas has proven they do for an exorbitant fee, making money off of preborn children being murdered? I'm sorry that you're immunocompromised. I really am. I am really sorry that you're going through this. but your immunocompromised state does not in any way, shape, or form allow you to impose restrictions on other people so that you can be safe. It just doesn't. Now, I want to point out that she applauded this man for putting a mask on, and she doesn't have anything to say about him accusing the Interchange of being racist.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding what you mean. How's that racism?
Notice she doesn't have anything to say to that?
I'm a white man and I can't come in. You can come in. Why was the door locked? It's been locked all night. I'm sorry about that. It's been locked all night. Yep, that's what it says. If you want, how's it wrong? I guess I don't understand how the door being locked is wrong.
Notice she caught me talking about the cleanup crew, but she didn't have any problem with the white guy accusing this business of being racist when there's literally no reason for him to accuse the business or any of us of being racist. Because she's okay with that. She likes the racist card being pulled. Especially likes to hear a white guy accuse another white guy or a business who's owned by white people of being racist. She's okay with that.
Yeah, I think he's videoing me,
Yeah, I'm videoing you, videoing us.
videoing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were right. He did say cleanup crew. He did the little air quotes
Yep,
when he said
sure
cleanup
did.
crew. And now, yeah, he's videoing me, videoing him.
Yep, I am.
Or taking a picture of me. And he's going to get someone else out here.
I didn't bring
And
anybody
there he
else
is.
out. That person was leaving on their own.
Okay, good.
Oh, make sure my door's locked. What do you think I'm going to do to you, you twit? I have no desire of putting hands on you. Like that, and there again, that's a tool, that's a tactic. You're going to imply that somehow you're in danger from me because I'm a big, scary man. Like I'm going to fly. No desire to hurt anyone. Oh, make sure my doors are locked. This is where I've lost some respect for you because you're building up this straw man to make it look like you're the put upon person, like you're somehow in danger. You did this to yourself, lady. You put yourself in this position by coming down and shooting video of people leaving the business, and you can act like, oh, I was going to hide the camera. I don't want to expose anybody. You were there to catch people. And numerous times throughout your video, and I'm not going to make everybody endure that, you said, oh, that person has a mask on. Oh, that one has a mask on. I'm really shocked. Who cares? Nobody was told they couldn't wear a mask inside there. In fact, an agent of the state came in to spy on us. He had a mask on. We never once told him he had to take it off. Not once.
Then he's getting my license plate.
No, I'm getting your car. Nice try.
Yep. No, there's not. I assure you, there's not a problem, sir. Excuse me? I'm just videoing.
Now, if you want to see the rest of this interaction, you certainly can. And my video is actually a lot better than hers. You can hear more of what I'm saying. All she does is kind of laugh and get uncomfortable and talk about how it's not safe. Nobody was going to hurt her. Nobody's interested in hurting her. But she needed to be called out on her BS. That's what she needed. She needed to be confronted. This is what they need. Now, here's the part that we really need. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, it's me again. I made it home safe.
What did you think was going to happen to you, Angie? I mean, like, safe? Or did you think that somebody was going to breathe on you? We're going to get COVID and you were going to die between leaving the interchange and getting to your house? I mean, did you think that was a possibility? You really think that was a legitimate? I mean, I'm terrified for you. If your immune system is that compromised that being at the interchange without having any contact with any of us weird, radical, patriotic people who were just trying to live our lives was dangerous for your health, then wow. I mean, like, you should really see a doctor. Probably have. Or did you mean you made it home safe because you were under threat of what? What did you think was going to happen to you? Did you think that somebody was going to come out and hurt you? No, nobody there was going to hurt you. We were just doing what you were doing, Angie. We were shooting video of you, as you pointed out, shooting video of you while you were shooting video of us. You just didn't like it. And when more people caught on, you had to get out. And you even said at one point, I'm going to leave, but I'm going to make sure he doesn't think he's intimidated me out of it. Well, guess what? You left because you were intimidated. And I'm okay with that. Nobody was going to hurt you, lady. Nobody's interested in putting hands on you. Okay? Not interested in it. Not going to happen. But you got caught spying on your neighbor. You were, and at one point in my video, I said, hey, you're the kind of person that would have turned their Jewish neighbors in. You're like, well, I couldn't do that because I support Bernie and Bernie's a Jew. Like, what? Somehow because you support Bernie and he's a Jew, you wouldn't turn in your neighbor in today? You just didn't like the connection. Literally didn't like the connection. And it's true. If you thought you could help your community by turning in your neighbors if they were having a gathering that the governor didn't approve of, you'd turn them in. You wanted the interchange to get shut down. You wanted law enforcement to come in there and run people out.
That got a little crazy fast for my liking.
It wasn't crazy. Like, did you watch any of the riots in the Twin Cities this summer? Did you watch any of the riots in Portland, in Seattle, Kenosha? Did you watch Kenosha, Angie? Did you watch Kenosha while Black Bloc and Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the New Black Liberation Army and the New Black Panthers burned entire neighborhoods of Kenosha to the ground? That was crazy. What happened was you getting a little bit of what you were given. All right? That wasn't crazy. You've not seen crazy. Unless you're watching criminals, miscreants, and thugs burn down neighborhoods that they live in. That's crazy. You just didn't like the fact that you got busted. You got busted. Sorry, you got busted.
Surprised a little bit to be called a fascist.
You got called a fascist because you're using fascist techniques. That's what it is. But this next part's even better.
I guess I'm going to have to get a new bumper sticker.
Wait for it.
I'll have to be getting an Antifa bumper sticker.
Yep, you heard her. She's gonna get an Antifa bumper sticker to prove she's not a fascist. Angie, do you understand what Antifa is? According to the President of the United States, Joe Biden, it's just an idea, but it's not just an idea. It's a dangerous idea. And it's a Marxist idea. And Marxists are totalitarians. Marxists are dictators. Marxists are autocrats. Marxists like to silence dissent. Fascism, Angie. Fascism. According to the definition, fascism.
So it is very clear that I am anti-fascism.
No, your sticker doesn't prove you're anti-fascism. Your sticker proves that you're a Marxist with fascist tendencies. You're a Marxist with authoritarian tendencies.
I'm not the fascist. I'm the opposite of that. So
you are a fascist. You just don't like being called a fascist.
So anyway, I just want to let you know I made it home safely. That was a little too, I was probably ambulance the whole time, but it just felt a little bit uncomfortable with a few more people coming out there.
Hmm.
And
You mean because they finally realized you were shooting video of them as they were going in and out of the business? I mean, oh well, you guys employ that tactic. You're you believe in Antifa. You're a practitioner and a participant and a member of Antifa. You just said you have to show that you're Antifa. Okay, it's more than an ideology. It's more than an idea. It is a organization. It is a group who uses those kind of tactics all the time.
but anyway, yeah, I'm a liberal commie.
No, you're not a liberal. You're a leftist. Stop using the word liberal. You don't get to use that word. You are not a classical liberal. You're a leftist, Angie.
Thought they could tell from the bumper stickers that I'm pretty progressive.
You're not progressive. You're a leftist.
Fascist.
You're a fascist.
But, you know,
according,
I'll make that clear.
According to the definition of fascism, you may not be a national fascist or a white fascist, but you are in favor of authoritarianism. You're a Marxist. Antifa doesn't oppose authoritarianism. They just oppose a particular type of authoritarianism. And then they label anybody they disagree with as fascist to try and win an argument. So, once again, you're a fascist. You're just a Marxist who's a fascist. National Socialism. You're just a Marxist fascist.
So I'll put that on my list of a new bumper sticker, an Antifa bumper sticker. So, like, basically, I think you guys got the gist. What they are doing is, you know, of course, they changed from a party to a protest. And then they stopped serving food and beverage, apparently, at 10 o'clock. And then everyone who was coming in was the cleanup crew.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Protests are wonderful. You can call it whatever you want, and it's fine. Would you have been happier if they'd been, you know, I don't know, if maybe we'd been watching around Albert Lea burning down buildings in protest? I mean, that's mostly peaceful. We were 100% peaceful. But if we burned down the neighbors' buildings, would that have been better? Would you have been okay with that? If we would have said, hey, we're doing this in protest of, I don't know, the made-up mentality of implicit bias and critical race theory, we're going to burn down the entire downtown area of Albert Lea, would that have been less offensive to you?
And they were welcome to come in and listen to music, but they made it clear at the door that there was no food and beverage, and the door is clearly locked. As you can tell, that one gentleman was complaining about that and quite upset about it.
And notice you didn't point out the fact that he was using a non sequitur and a straw man and a red herring and an ad hominem and called it racist. I don't even get it. Don't even understand. You didn't point that out.
But anyway, and the reason I was there is I just kind of wanted to see if anything was going to happen, if they were going to get shut down or something.
See what happened? She wanted it shut down. She's very disappointed that it wasn't. She is okay with a police state, but she is not okay with law enforcement. Police state and law enforcement officers doing their jobs according to the Constitution are two totally different things. She wants a police state. She wanted the city of Albert Lea Police Department to come in and march in and shut it down. And she's very disappointed that it didn't happen.
And just to make it clear, and I don't have anything against small businesses or restaurants, but
yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You have definitely got a problem with it. Because if they don't toe a line that you've established in your mind, whether it be information you've been fed from your governor or from some other government agency, you don't want them to operate. You want them to operate according to what you think is okay, Angie. That's the problem, kiddo. That's the problem.
I just want everyone to follow the rules.
And we do too, Angie. We want everybody to follow the rules. What rules do we want them to follow? Angie, we want them to follow the Constitution of the United States. Why do we want them to follow the Constitution of the United States, Angie? Because it's the highest earthly authority in the United States. As a very famous Supreme Court case once said that any law, and I'm going to paraphrase here, any law that is passed that violates the Constitution is repugnant to the Constitution and should not be followed. No law about this has been passed. This has been government edict. These are not laws. We want people to follow the rules too. We want people to follow the law too, as long as those laws are in keeping with the Constitution of the United States, Angie. Something you don't understand.
Keep Freeborn County safe. You know,
Where do you draw the line on keeping Freeborn County safe, Angie? Where do you draw the line? Should we wrap everybody in bubble wrap? Should fat people be on a diet? Because they're not safe. I mean, I had to start dieting because I was way overweight. You think I'm fat in the video that you showed of me? I was even fatter 3 years ago, like 300 pounds, all right? So should they have come in and made me lose weight, required it for my own good, keep me safe?
we were the hot spot in Minnesota, and not only is that an embarrassment.
Why are you embarrassed about being a hotspot for a virus? I'm going to assume, Angie, that you believe in evolution. I'm just going to assume that. If I'm wrong, you can tell me, but I'm pretty sure you do. So if you believe in evolution, Angie, survival of the fittest. That's the way it is. We should cull the weak. Let the weak die. I mean, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all, but you're the evolutionist. And there again, if I'm wrong, I would love for you to watch this video and contact me and we could have a conversation. You know what? I promise you, I will treat you civilly and with respect. Am I being derisive and mocking to you now? Right now? Absolutely, because you have so much cognitive dissonance, you do not even understand how dangerous you are.
Just the health and lives of so many. And that's not,
I do realize that you have a Christopher Walken type in tone and tonality and inflection, which is actually pretty impressive. Christopher Walken's entertaining.
not okay. And this event
It's not okay.
tonight was a stunt. They weren't, I mean, I guess someone at the door said that they were going to bring in a donation, so possibly they were getting donations, but they weren't selling anything. This doesn't benefit their business except for the publicity that I think that Lisa is attempting to get out of all of this.
So who cares? Who cares? First Amendment, right? First Amendment. Absolutely. I saw on your wall, Angie, a picture of Colin Kaepernick kneeling during the national anthem. And I also saw a picture of a guy standing in the Capitol building holding a Confederate flag, which I do not agree with, by the way. But I defend it. I defend his right to hold a Confederate flag wherever he is. I don't care, as stupid as it might be. If he wants to walk in to Cook County, Illinois, Chicago, carrying a Confederate flag, he has the freedom to do it. Colin Kaepernick has a freedom, Angie, to kneel during the national anthem. I support his right to do that. I put my life on the line in the military for him to have the right to do that, Angie. But guess what? I also put my life on the line so that Lisa Hanson of the Interchange can have a party, and she's sticking it to the governor by spending that money on the food and drink that she's giving away for free. It's really not free, but giving back to the people who paid the taxes in the first place. And if it's a publicity stunt, who gives a shiny rat's butt? See, this is the thing. You think it needs to match whatever dictates, toe whatever line that you think it should toe for it to be legitimate. That's the problem. You only approve of people exercising their liberties as long as it's according to your guidelines. And that's not how it works.
But it wasn't about a business wanting to be open. It was about nailing it to the wall.
It's called a protest. You should be okay with that.
And I'm all about free speech and expressing yourself 100%. I mean, I got a bullhorn, but this isn't the way you do it.
So wait a minute. First of all, what does you having a bullhorn have to do with anything? What? Are you kidding me? I'm all about freedom of speech. I have a bullhorn. Okay, I have a car horn. I don't even know what that means. I don't know how that's analogous. But you don't get to tell Lisa Hanson of the Interchange how she protests, how she expresses herself.
putting people's lives at risk. And I guess just one more thing, because on social media, everyone's always arguing this. Well, if you don't feel safe, then don't go. But that's not what it's about, because someone goes and they get COVID and they pass it along to their child who goes to school and gives it to their teacher or another student or a bunch of people, and then the kids can't be in school anymore, or a grade can't be in school anymore, or class, or someone gets sick and dies, and someone gets COVID from an event like that, and then they go to work and their coworker, who is as safe as they can be, gets COVID, gives it to their wife who's high risk. You know, it's not just, and it's not about me or you or just one person. It's about the whole community, and we should be here trying to keep people safe. And if masks do that, even if there's a possibility masks can do that, and I believe that they do help, then we wear masks. Social distancing works, then we social distance. If it helps to not have parties, then call them protests, and then we don't do that. You know?
Why though? Why? And what I'm going to ask this again. Where do you draw the line, Angie? I really want to know. Where do you draw the line? Does the governor get to say you can't have people in your home? And if you have people in your home, you can go to jail? Does the governor get to do that? Does the governor get to tell you who you can and cannot have in your home? Does the governor get to tell you where you can and cannot assemble for a protest, for the redress of grievances? Does the governor get to tell you who you have the freedom to hang out with and where you have the freedom to hang out with them? Angie, where do you draw the line? Do you draw it over numerous days in Minneapolis with no intervention from the governor of Minnesota, as the entire neighborhoods of Minneapolis burned down, as entire stores were being looted, as people were rushing in, Angie, and stealing things that were not rightfully theirs and taking them? Do you draw the line there? No, you don't draw the line there. You draw the line at the interchange. But where do you draw the line for yourself, Angie? How long before you've said enough is enough? Or is it only about who's in charge? You tell me, Angie, because I don't think you really know.
Oh, anyway, so there we go. Good night, everyone. Thanks for tagging along on my little adventure. I'm pretty sure my parents, when they see this, I'm gonna get an earful. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
I don't really have much more to say. What I do want to say is I actually respect Angie to a degree. I respect the fact that she had the guts to do what she did. That's what the First Amendment's about. What I don't respect are all the people who believe they have the right or the authority to tell somebody else how to live their life. All the people out there screaming, my body, my choice, when it comes to babies being murdered in the womb. All the people out there screaming, you can't tell me who I can have in my bedroom. You can't tell me who I can marry. You can't tell me who I can sleep with. You know what? I can't tell you that. I can give you reasons why you shouldn't do some of the stuff that you do. And I can give it to you from a objective standard based on an objective moral law that is outside of us and outside of the United States. But I can't tell you you can't do something, because you can do whatever you want. What I object to, Angie, or you and people who commented saying the interchange needs to be shut down because they're dangerous. They're endangering people. Life is dangerous. Get over it. Angie, if you see this, I'm not your enemy, but I'm not your ally. And I don't even really think that even if we could talk through all of this, if you continue to hold the leftist Marxist policies, we could never be friends. I can't be friends with people like that, because we're always going to be diametrically opposed. We're heading in different directions in the sense of I'm heading through the constitutional line. You're heading way off here, over here into the left even further. You're not a progressive, Angie. And the people who support you aren't progressives. And the people who support you aren't Christian. I don't care who they are. I don't care where they go to church. People who support people like you, people who support people like Biden, people who support people like Bernie can't be a Christian. You can't be. You can't be a Christian. I don't care where you go to church. I don't care who you worship alongside. If those are the people that you support, you can't be a Christian. And if your church doesn't call you on it, it's not a true church. And that's not a fallacy. That's biblical. Anybody who supports leftist Marxist ideology supports abortion. You support abortion, you support infant murder. You support infant murder, you love what God hates. So once again, Angie, if you see this, I would love to have a conversation with you. You won't do it. You will not do it. I know you won't do it. I would love to have that conversation with you. I would love to meet you at the Interchange for a coffee, and we can have that conversation. I'll set up my phone. We can record it. I'll wear a mask, Angie. I will wear a mask in the Interchange. I will buy your coffee. I will buy your lunch, Angie. But you won't take me up on this if you see it. And here's why. You can't defend your position without somebody feeding you what to say. Thanks for putting up with a really long video, but this is incredibly important because this is small town Albert Lea, Minnesota, and these are the kind of people that are voting in your community. They need to go away. Not in a dangerous way. They just need to go away because they are dangerous politically. Their ideology is dangerous, whether they like it or not. Marxism is authoritarianism, is fascism. Sic semper tyrannis.